In 2007, Carol Dweck from Stanford University published an important article about a study she ran with 373 middle school students. She asked each kid a simple question: is intelligence something very basic that can't really change? Their respective answers sorted them into two fascinating groups. The fixed intelligence group, who answered, yeah, intelligence is essentially solid. And the malleable intelligence group that said, no, intelligence can actually change. Years went by, and Dr. Dweck discovered that the kids in the fixed mindset were more worried about looking smart than about learning. Faced with a setback, they thought it was an intrinsic failure, a personal thing, and they stopped trying. On the other hand, those who thought intelligence could grow over time were more interested in learning for learning's sake, and were willing to take risks even though they knew they'd make mistakes. They worked hard because they thought they could actually become better. And when they were faced with setbacks, they regrouped, re-strategized, and then they tried again. Setbacks and mistakes were seen as chances to improve and learn and grow. Dr. Dweck calls this attitude growth mindset, and it's the second corner of the micro-moment triangle. There are three attributes to being in a growth mindset: effort, using good strategies, and proactive help seeking. Here's Carol Dweck and Greg Walton.
Thank you. It is an incredible honor to be here with both of you. You have a captive audience of teachers and parents here who are looking for, how to translate the research into practice. Where would you guys even begin to think through that?
What we find is that students who are in this fixed mindset, who think they only have a certain amount of intelligence, when they encounter effort or difficulty, they say, it means I'm dumb. But in a growth mindset, the kids say, wow, this is when I'm getting smarter. So educators have to focus on that process of learning, not just the outcomes.
I would just add that I think what's really important when students are encountering tasks that are really hard or they're struggling, it's easy to look at them from a third-party point of view or from a teacher's point of view or a parent's point of view and not really be sensitive to the meaning that the child or the student is trying to make of that task. But kids are there and they're actively trying to make meaning of that. They're trying to understand that, and they are liable potentially to think it means that struggle means that they can't do it or that they won't be able to do it. And so identifying those key moments as a parent or as a teacher when your students are struggling and knowing that that's a really important psychological moment for the student, and then finding a way in the context of your relationship and the setting that you're in to help guide your student or your child's understanding of the struggle that they're going through this kind of language is really important.
Saying things like, who had a great struggle today? Or if a child says, I'm not good at this, you say, yet. There is value in those words, but there's also value in demonstrating those concepts, demonstrating that they apply to you as well as they apply to them. A teacher saying, I don't know the answer, let's figure it out. Or a mistake, isn't that interesting? I made a mistake, what can I learn from it? Or let me keep at this and try another strategy. So not just telling kids that's what you should do, but modeling that that's what we do as learners, all of us.
Even if we work really hard, maybe in school as a student or maybe in school as a teacher, we can sometimes find ourselves or slip into a moment where we feel ourselves in a kind of fixed mindset. And I think it's really helpful to recognize that, to understand that that's part of our culture, and then to respond to that appropriately. Not to beat yourself up about that, but to recognize that for what it is.
So let's stay there for 1 second. So if you were to say, here's how you know you're sliding into a fixed mindset, what would be the telltale signs of, I know I'm in a fixed mindset when?
I would articulate it in my mind as a thought of something like, I just can't do this, and I can't see ahead. And I think when you have that thought, you want to step back and you want to approach the problem or the challenge, what you're trying to learn, differently. You want to ask yourself, should I study in a different way? Should I ask a friend who understands this, how they think about the problem? Should I go to the teacher? You want to not take that as an answer. You don't want to stop. You don't want to allow that thought to make you stop.
I think another thing is you don't want feedback. You don't want people seeing your work. You want to hide it. You want to push it away. You want to do something else.
So we talked about the fixed mindset. Here's what it sounds like. Does the growth mindset in your head, what are the thoughts there?
You're still struggling, right? And a growth mindset doesn't mean that you got it right away, right? You're working hard and you're struggling, and it might feel like you're not making that much progress, but you're treating it as a problem to be solved, and you're going at it, and you're going at it, and you're going at it in different directions.
Yep.
May I speak from personal experience?
Please, even better.
I knew I was recovering from my fixed mindset when I heard a voice in my head say, "This is hard, this is fun."
Yeah.
And I thought, who said that? Because in the past, hard was threatening. Maybe I wasn't as smart as I thought I was or wanted to be. And here I thought, this is fun. This is an opportunity to figure something out.
So if you have a very struggling student, how should teachers think about adjusting for that particular child's needs? And similarly, if a kid's a super high achiever, how do they think about the right, getting them to have challenges that, support the growth mindset effort?
This is a core aspect of teaching, I think, right? And I mean, the answer is, there's a simple answer, but it's hard to do, which is you want to get the right challenges in front of the kids. So you want the kids to be working on material that is challenging, that is pushing them, and that they can make progress on, but isn't so easy that it's not really genuinely challenging for them. And finding the way to do that, and finding the way to do that in a sort of heterogeneous class is hard.
And we don't want teachers to say, "Oh, this student is struggling. I'm going to really water down the work and make the student feel good." That student may be struggling for now, but when they make that breakthrough, maybe they're going to forge ahead, especially in math. That happens a lot. And by saying, "No, this is a struggling student, I'm going to make them feel good," you may be depriving them of that opportunity to move forward. Every student has something to teach you about being a teacher. Rather than being threatened by a child who doesn't seem to be progressing, you should be challenged and curious and, "Let me try this, let me try that." It should be a spur to your growth. I love the idea that every student has something to teach you.
I love that idea. I often think of it as, when I talk to teachers, I often say, if we can shift our mindsets from seeing kids as problems to seeing them as puzzles.
Yes.
I've worked with a lot of kids, and I remember in my own life the first time someone told me I was smart.
Yeah.
I was a private school special ed kid, and I remember very clearly, and it was very much like what you were saying, Greg, about someone told me that, they believed I could do something because they knew how smart I was. And it was the first time that someone had used smart in connection with me. And I remember that, I was 8, and so that's 35 years later, I kind of very clearly remember that. And so how does that all fit in?
I think it's just a slippery concept, and I think that's why it's hard. So you can say to a kid, and you can mean it, and the kid can understand it in a growthy kind of way. That is, you're so smart. Look at the potential that you have if you work hard. Look at your ability to grow and to learn. This is you can do this. You can grow. You can do this. You can go and do things. You can acquire skills. You can learn calculus. You could you could do. You have a great potential. And sometimes when we talk about smart, we have that meaning, and that meaning is understood. But sometimes that meaning is misunderstood, or we simply mean that you are smart. You have this thing, you are smart, that's it, that's a fixed thing.
And it alone will take you there.
It alone will take you there. The way that you told the story of somebody saying to you that you're smart, it felt to me that it was a statement of your potential and your learnability, your sort of learnability and your growth potential, and it wasn't a statement about your sort of fixed quality of you.
Are there sentence starters? Are there typical phrases that you would wish teachers would use more frequently?
Some of our collaborators and colleagues, David Yeager and Jeff Cohen and others, have done this really nice work on wise feedback that's designed to be a way in which teachers and mentors can give critical feedback to students that helps to sustain their motivation. And the idea is that when you give critical feedback, it can be demoralizing for students. They can feel bad. They can disengage. And that can cause teachers sometimes just to withhold that critical feedback, but that is the most valuable resource there is. When a teacher gives critical feedback, a good, solid critical feedback to a student, that's the learning that can occur. So this work by David and by Jeff and others shows that if the teacher prefaces that feedback by telling the student, why I'm giving you the feedback, I'm giving you this critical feedback because I believe you can meet a higher standard. I've seen your work so far, and there's a higher standard, and I'm confident that you can get there. And I'm giving you really critical feedback so you can get there.
And ultimately, you want them to feel cheated if they don't get critical feedback because you're robbing them of an opportunity to improve.
Should we look at some kids?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a minute-long clip of Sarah Katner with a mixed-age classroom of first through third graders. So here we go.
All right. And let's write on your sheet that you're passing to. You're excelling. You're doing your very best work. Past to next level in math. Do you feel proud of yourself? You've really been working hard. There you go.
And this is a piece of work that you have to concentrate.
Yeah, it takes a lot of concentration.
What are her strengths there, and where would you push her in the future?
I thought there were a lot of strengths. I thought she focused on the progress, moving to the next level. I think she made the student feel good about working hard and working through challenge. So I thought those were really great strengths.
Any areas of growth that you think Ms. Katner should think about going forward?
If I had to be a little picky,
She's an amazing teacher. She'd appreciate it.
I wondered if I would say you're doing your best work.
And instead you might say,
You're doing great work. You've made a lot of progress. We don't know what her best work is.
your best is yet to come.
Do you feel proud of yourself?
When she asked the kid, are you proud of yourself?
Yes.
Positive, negative thing to do?
I don't think pride and shame should be at issue.
No.
That in one study we showed that saying to a child, I'm proud of you, was almost the same as praising a trait.
Right.
And so, proud of myself, the opposite might be, I'm ashamed of myself if I didn't excel or what.
So if I'm actually struggling this with my own kids, and when I'm a teacher, is there something else you would think?
You should feel good about this.
You should feel good about it. Yeah, I could see that.